Welcome to another episode of Hobby Nonsense, everybody. I am back. Ray has been here. I
never left.
I know. Well, to the audience, they shouldn't even know anything happened because it was just a normal episode last week. Little did they know I was out in New York City gallivanting around. New York City, not a place.
Did you eat some New York style pizza?
I did. I had two different pizza places. One was underwhelming. One was fantastic.
Were they like two pizza places to where it's like, all right, when you go to New York City, son, you got to eat at these two pizza places, you hear?
So
That's my New York City accent.
That was really, 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 really good.
Yeah?
I don't know. It was okay.
Try the chopped cheese, you know?
It's definitely
getting a little worse.
It's giving me like Futurama New York vibes. I don't know if there's a guy who's always like the old time New Yorker, and it gives me that. No, I went to a couple places where nobody had recommended, and that's why I got burned on one, but I actually was successful on the other pizza place. I posted some stuff where I went to this thing called The Edge, where it's like I guess it's the highest outdoor scenic area in like the Western Hemisphere or something like that. I don't know. It was 100 floors up. It's very similar to the same height of the World Trade Center, except that you're all indoors on that one. We ended up doing both of them, which is funny.
You were outside.
Yeah, that one I was outside.
Feel the building?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Moving?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, that's terrifying.
As someone who's afraid of heights, it was not my favorite thing. Even though I'm the one who had the idea to do the second one, just because it's like, once you're doing it, it's like, okay, I like being afraid. There's like a part of me that kind of enjoys it.
Afraid.
But it's funny, I get even more afraid if like my wife or daughter goes over to the edge. That freaks me out even more if I go over there.
Yeah, because if they die, it's like your fault.
Oh, exactly. So anyways, New York was fun. Back in the saddle, and a lot of things happened while we were gone.
Saddle.
You like that?
I like that.
A lot of things happened. One thing that happened is Solar Ray,
still, I can't.
Riggedy Solar Ray has single-handedly been destroying, in a good way, our YouTube content. He has been doing a number of Pokemon videos that in the last month have over doubled our subscribers. I saw today. Our watch time is, I think, almost...
I think we're there.
Here's the thing. It's so confusing. I looked up, like, why is our watch time not equivalent to the amount of time that we need to be a monetized YouTube channel and get all the perks? And I don't know why exactly. So it is what it is, but we'll get there no matter what.
We'll probably get there in the next week or so.
So that being said, if you guys are interested in any of Ray's very, I would say, educated and hot picks for Pokemon specifically,
I'm giving out every major key that you guys need to be successful in buying Pokemon.
The comments
giving you guys
alone,
all the tips and tricks.
People love it. They absolutely love your content, and I love it too, because it's like, oh man, I actually would watch like the last video where that Pikachu. What was the Pikachu that's going off right now? I don't know if I want to give too many spoilers.
Going off as in
like that is like from a base to a PSA 10 has just recently skyrocketed.
Yeah, so we put out a video on our YouTube channel. My best top 10 cards that you should buy in a raw, which means ungraded, and hopefully they get 10s in the PSA 10. And we're talking about I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. Go over and check, but it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And I saw someone, there's someone else posting content about that specific card. They had 101 of them. They were buying them up for like 20, 30 cents back a couple years ago or something.
Exactly.
And now they've got a whole binder worth of these things that raw still do hundreds of dollars.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So we'll be doing some more stuff like that, more like an investory Pokemon style content. So if you guys like that kind of stuff, come over to the YouTube channel. Hit us and subscribe. We got to hit that 1,000 subscribers and watch the podcast over there.
Thank you. And there's going to be also your non-sport, your top stuff. Upper Deck hopefully is going to be supporting some of this too for unboxing videos that we can start showing off a little bit more. I'm working with Tops to try and get some, even though I get some for breaking. It's hard to take a box out because typically the break consists of like a full case. So it's like hard to break up that case and just take one box and say, hey, this is separate. So
yeah,
I'm trying to see if they'll hook us up there. But everything else is going very well. That all being said, one of the things that also happened last week was Disney was announced by Topps. Topps has officially given us a date. They've given us a checklist.
We got a date.
They've given us a lot of information about this year's Topps Chrome Disney product, and I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be hot.
It's gonna be real hot.
It's gonna be really hot, and I am
Nelly
concerned. Hot? Ooh, I'd say it's nearly too hot in her, but I don't know if it's that hot. It's getting close to it though. The idea that this will be the most expensive hobby box of a non-sport product you buy this year is probably pretty much solidified at this point. Yeah, I think it's going to be, because even the EQL, which here's a fun fact about EQL. When we talked about it the other day, one thing I did not realize at the time, and I should have if I really read the emails clearly, is every time you don't hit in an EQL, supposedly your odds go up for future EQLs.
I don't know about
that. I have yet to win one. I don't know what my point system is,
that.
but it should be pretty high at this point. But yeah, the Disney one that got announced last week, it came out, the hobby boxes came out at $400 in the EQL. So that means, I mean, breakers
it's starting at $400 in the
yeah, breakers are going to get it somewhere around that price. That means it will inevitably probably come out by Dave and Adams and Steel City and Blowout. They're probably going to start offering this at like $600 at the low end.
Dude,
the low end.
Can I just real quick?
Please.
I don't like how expensive some of this product is getting.
You're the first person to say that.
Like, I do not like it. Well,
no, you are in the vast majority of all of us. But
dude, I want to buy your stuff, but it's like I can't spend $600 on a hobby box.
I think it's two things, right? So one, we want more autos, right? And people are like, oh, well, this doesn't even have real autos. Check yourself, because you are wrong this year. They have not only facsimile autos, but they have real autos in this year's product. So there is that, but there's also, it's like, okay, how much does it cost for Disney IP? And how much does it cost to get these people to sign in these products? I know they are making money on it. I'm not trying to say pity Topps or whoever makes the product that's super expensive, but I am just saying we are living in a time, inflation is king, everything's more expensive. So yes, this will go up in price. However, I don't know if we have to have it this high. However, it's what the market demands. And at the same time, I think they're counting on a lot of people to get into breaks. And that's why these checklists have been so big. The base set checklist for this product is 200 cards. It's similar to the Star Wars base set checklist, which is 200 cards. We're seeing more and more of these huge checklists. And it's like, okay, well, it's giving the vibe that if you buy into a break, then yeah, maybe it does become affordable. You can get spots for like $10, $15 at, maybe even less in some cases.
But I feel like that's the only way for like a normal person to even get a little bit of that product.
We are transitioning a little bit in that sense to where more and more, both the non-sport and sport side of things is becoming more focused for the breaker because it has priced so many people out. However, they are doing little things. They've done things like for this product specifically, they have both value and mega boxes that they've also released at the same time.
Okay.
Now, of course, your odds are going to be more difficult to get auto or something like that in there, but they will have their own parallels. They'll have chances to hit numbered cards. It's not going to be as great as a hobby box would be, of course, but it will be significantly cheaper. Again, how cheap? Time will tell. We'll see what it actually comes out at.
I don't like it.
But let me tell you some of the things you will like.
Okay.
So anybody who is looking to, check out the product, there are a number of like anniversaries coming up associated with it. So you've got like the 70th anniversary of Lady and the Tramp. So they'll have like a parallel for that. A spaghetti refractor is what they're calling it.
Ooh,
that's kind of fun. They have like the last year's product. There's a ton of anniversaries of 85th anniversary of Pinocchio. Number of sketches this year. They did not have sketches last year, so we get sketches in this year's product. There's also going to be the Reflections insert that has been so popular among the other like Marvel and Star Wars products. These are just very cool art that is done in a way that has garnered them as a must chase in most of these new releases from Topps. So you've got 5 different ones: Snow White and the Evil Queen, Captain Hook and Peter Pan, which personal favorite right here. Mickey and Minnie Mouse, which that's going to be super expensive. Buzz Lightyear and Zurg, and then Linguini and Remy.
You know, because I don't know if they're going to make Ratatouille 2 or whatever.
Well, they were going to after they hear this.
This is my pitch, Disney. It'll be like a contest where all the rats all over the world come together that are cooking rats.
Limited to just the rats, though.
Just
no
the
other
rats.
animals.
No other animals.
Fair.
And they have a contest to see who is the best rat cook. And then you can have like a rat that looks like Guy Fieri.
Yes.
Or
a
Chef Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay. Yeah. That's actually okay. You know what? If they don't make that movie, it's their loss.
Yeah,
we'll
you'd like an Italian rat.
Exactly.
You know, like a Mexican rat.
Yeah. Who was the Chef Boyardee? No, that was actually in the first one. They had a version of that. Who was the guy who was always saying "Bam"? Emeril Lagasse. What's he doing these days? You are going to have celebrity autos from Samuel L. Jackson for Frozone, Keira Knightley, Elizabeth Swann, Pirates of the Caribbean, Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear, also Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear,
double Buzz Lightyear,
Billy Crystal as Mike Wazowski, Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, Orlando Bloom as Will Turner, John Goodman as Sully. A lot of names and autos that we have been looking for.
That's pretty cool.
Actually very excited about this. There's a number of other ones. Those are the ones, at least the bigger ones I wanted to mention right off the bat. This comes out September the 24th, I believe. Actually, I'm kind of concerned about it. I don't like that there's so much crammed into such a small space, even though I love it, and I don't like it because it's like, well, I want to be a part of all of it. I love all of it.
Yeah.
But even if I'm the breaker or the customer, it's like eventually who has the money and time to do all of it. So
and then Christmas is coming. I mean, usually companies do this because fourth quarter is coming.
Sure.
And people start thinking about Christmas and all that stuff.
And then they typically do slow down around Christmas too. Specifically, their like releases start slowing down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're getting it all in before then. Who's in the wrong here?
You can take these. I'm not going to sell to you. Please leave our table. There you go, sir. Good luck.
Do you have a bag or something?
Yes, I do.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
1 hour later.
Born and raised in South Florida, so.
Give you a bag, but I might take something else.
Wait, what happened to this?
I way overpaid.
¿Qué fue?
He said he way overpaid for these. I don't think I can take returns, man. You already left with the boxes.
Okay, it's okay. Everybody's got their prices.
What's up?
You got 210 over here.
So that's 210, and what do you want to do?
You got 480 in there.
I'm really sorry, I can't take these back. I apologize. I know you're at all the card shows, but I don't know what you did to these boxes. Not to say you did anything to them,
What?
but I already sold them to you at the price. I gave you a deal. I'm gonna have to say no.
It wasn't a deal. That's the whole thing. You have a guy right next to you selling them for 120.
You can pick them up from him too, but you already bought them from me, so I can't take these back. I'm sorry.
I'm trading you. I guess you want to f me only on 2.
It's not about that, man. It's about us working a deal already.
There is also being a human being and being fair with your customers. And you f your customer.
We don't say
Alright, man.
bad words here.
No, don't worry about it. You can take these. I'm not gonna sell to you. Please leave our table.
So he's coming back because he way overpaid. So he realized just a few tables down that the whatever he bought was cheaper than what he bought there. And so he comes back pretty much demanding that, well, no, I don't want this now. You take it back. What's your opinion on something like that?
No, you can't do that.
Right?
You can't do that in this kind of environment. I mean, it's not a retail store. It's your fault that you didn't do the due diligence by seeing if you overpaid or not. And then granted, there could be, we don't know what necessarily the product is that he purchased. And it could be a misunderstanding to where maybe he thought it was something, but it could be something else.
Sure.
So it could be like, like a terrible example, but let's say he bought like a Shadowless pack and thought it was like an unlimited pack of Pokemon cards.
Oh, okay.
Two identically looking products,
Sure.
but completely different.
So I could see where there's like a lack of education, or it's like it wasn't necessarily lack of education. He didn't know, or maybe it wasn't clear from the salesman, the guy who set up at the table. But that was not the case in this situation. Okay. I can tell you by watching the rest of the video.
Well, there's what's cool about this video that we're going to watch in our guest is actually a vendor that probably has a lot of experience on this kind of stuff. And there's been videos that I've seen, like graded guards are a big issue right now, Jesse. I don't know if you know this, but that's like the plastic thing that goes like around a graded graded card.
Yeah.
Some of them have resale value on its own. Some of them go up to like $300 or $400, $500, depending on the color.
No, they do not.
So when you're going up to a table and there's a card with a graded guard on it, would you think that you're purchasing everything together or separately? You know, and that's a big, and I have seen deals not get done because it's like, okay, I want to buy this card with the graded card. It's like, and then they start taking the graded card off. And it's like, well, I thought that was part of the deal.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's actually separate. This is actually like a $200 graded guard. So I've seen,
I had no idea.
And then where is it to where if I am purchasing a card, let's say for like $5,000 and there's a graded guard on it, and at the end of the day, you don't want to give me the graded guard that I just purchased a $4,000 card, like take a hike.
Yeah.
You know
seriously.
what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So there's little nuances like that. And then right now in the Pokemon world, especially with like PSAs changing their centering ratio, if you have a more of a current cert number, those are actually worth a little bit more than, let's say, an old cert number.
All right. Jonathan Miller of Music City Games has joined us. Jonathan, thank you for coming in. As unfortunately not in studio, but thank you for joining the podcast today. You're a local, are you not?
I am. Yeah. Thanks for having me. First off, love your guys' content. Love what you guys do. So happy to be a part of this. But yeah, local to Middle Tennessee. I'm in the Murfreesboro area.
Oh, okay. Very cool. I lived down in Murfreesboro for a few years. Went to MTSU. So I love the borough. Nothing wrong with that at all. They've got some good card shops over there.
TNLG, the Next Level Games in the Nashville area, that is pretty popular. It's been around for a long, long time. So they might hold, they definitely hold the candle. They were the standard for a while. But big shout out to Grand Slam. Yeah, Grand Slam, they expanded into TCG in a really big way and got the community there. And they've done a fantastic job. Their shop looks incredible. It's a good spot.
Ray is a mutual, I guess, friend here. You guys have done some stuff before. Ray has said nothing but great things about you. You set up at shows. You sell Pokemon cards mainly. What all do you do? What are you known for?
Yeah, well, I co-own Music City Games with my business partner, Christian Flack. We've been buddies that played Magic the Gathering with each other for a little while, met through a mutual friend of ours, Eric, who's a good friend. And I had a crazy idea. I was like, hey, man, I want to do this whole like vendor thing. I think it'd be really cool. Initially, Music City Games was going to be a brick and mortar. And I had another good friend of mine that I know from esports. Esports is my background. That's kind of where I got started in this entertainment space, I guess you could say. And we were going to do a brick and mortar, and we actually picked a couple locations in Murfreesboro that we were really excited about, and it got really close. And essentially that partner is building out some really successful brick and mortar LGSs in the West Coast, and essentially just had an opportunity to build like a fourth or fifth one there. And it just seemed like a better opportunity. So he was like, hey, let's just pause this for a little while. Maybe we can revisit. At that point, I was so gung ho, I didn't want to stop. Like I was like, I'm going now. So I reached out to my buddy Christian, was like, hey man, like, just do this with me. And he was like, all right, I don't have a whole lot of extra time, but I'm in. And I'm glad he did, because we hit the ground running and, started basically I took about $200 of my Magic card collection that I had that was just extra. He took about 200 of his. Originally, we started with a third partner and then dwindled down to just he and I. But we started by just throwing our cards in the pool. We created a TCG player account, sold them, and took the money that we made from our donation, if you will, to the business, and just kept looping it on in. Didn't take a single paycheck until about 2 months ago for this business, and just grinded for a year and built it up.
I don't know. I feel like that is actually a really good turnaround time, because some people, it could take years, especially starting with, $200 each, that's a lot of money to start a business with. But to know that you guys just kind of kept recycling that money and turning it into bigger and bigger. Is it all through Magic cards, or I see on your content, it looks like you still do a lot of Pokemon as well?
Yeah, it's actually primarily Pokemon now. We'll do the occasional Magic the Gathering deal if the opportunity comes up, But what we found out was when we started in July, we had primarily Magic cards, and Magic cards sell really well online because the player base operates a little bit differently, right? Like there's a bigger contingency of Pokemon fans who love the artwork and love to collect versus Magic players and people aren't really collecting Magic cards. You buy the cards you need to play your decks, depending on whatever format that is. And so, what we learned is that the online space for selling Magic cards is great. Like TCG Player, we sold I mean cards as little as $1 or $2 all the way up to hundreds of dollars, right? And we had a lot of success there. But what we found out after vending a couple of shows is that people don't go to card shows to buy Magic cards necessarily. Like you'll find the occasional vendor who carries them, and it's fun when you see them because like, oh cool, Magic cards are here. But that's what we found is that it was really rare. Like we had like 1% of the people that came to our tables that were maybe interested in Magic. So eventually we stopped carrying it, and I told Christian, I was like, hey man, like we really should just dedicate our available resources to Pokemon because that is the future of the card hobby right now. And it's not like I knew it particularly well. Like I've been a fan of TCG since I was a real young kid, and I started with the original base set for Pokemon and collected them. But after the original, WotC era, I stopped with Pokemon entirely. I went to, I was doing like professional. I was playing eventually professional Halo, and then I was doing a lot of things with Magic the Gathering from like 2009 on. So Pokemon wasn't really my game, but I've always loved Pokemon. So at that time, I just saw where the industry was going and saw how the card shows were increasing. I saw the Bulbasaur doing vendor POVs, and I was like, man, this is so cool. I would like to do that. And so that's what kind of made me say, like, hey, we really should jump on the Pokemon train. And thankfully, Christian was like, all right, I trust your vision. Like, let's do it. And so we just took all of our available funds, which for a while we were only operating with around like $600 to $900 at a time. Like we'd be buying and selling and buying and selling. And during that entire period, it was really just us having, anywhere from like $400 to $900 in operating cash. So the decisions we were making had to be very strategic ones, because if we bought a collection and it flopped, then we're cooked. Like that was all of our funds, right? So thankfully he trusted me in that, and thankfully the Pokemon hobby picked up it looked like it was.
How fast were you turning around that entire bankroll? Like, would it have to be a week, 2 weeks? I can't imagine you can do deals that take a whole month. I mean, it would take a long time, I think, to build that bankroll to something where you could quit your job.
To start off, I mean, it's kind of why I enjoyed our story so much, and why I try to give advice the best I can, is because I feel like Music City Games is a really practical example of being an entrepreneur, right? So for me, I've been a part of other founding teams that have created companies that have built, like I've built a brand that's now really big and sold for over $750,000 in a company called Vast. But I was a part of that, and it wasn't really like my baby. I was just kind of a part of a founding team. There was really two other guys, and one guy in particular who led the charge, right? And so for me, I've always been pretty dependent when it comes to business related, large financial decisions, that type of thing. So to become an entrepreneur, to start my own business, was really challenging because there's a lot of decisions you have to make that are tough. Like you don't teach, you don't learn these types of things in school. Maybe if you go to college for a specific business degree or something, you dive into some of these more meticulous and tedious decisions you might have to make. But for the most part, like especially in a social media age, like a marketing world where building a brand is the most important thing you can do, there's not a playbook for you, right? And it's really scary. So for us, I knew that diving in and doing the Pokemon stuff and doing the card show stuff, I've been able to get in front of cameras, and I've made content for a really long time. For a long time, I was gaming and I streamed on Twitch and got partnered and stuff like that. But I really didn't consider myself to be like a big brand or anything, or a big content creator. I would start something and stop it, start something and stop it. And so this opportunity was really important because it was just a culmination of a lot of life decisions that I had made early on, where I'd started a content channel and then not followed it through because I thought it wasn't good enough, or XYZ. I come from content marketing as well in the gaming space. So when I was done playing, I did a lot of things to help other content creators build their brands. Like, for example, I played against Ninja for a long time, and then slowly worked with him and a lot of other creators to kind of help monetize their brands and kind of, you know, help the kind of gaming industry grow, I guess you could say, in some ways. And so for me, it was really easy for me to look at myself and kind of feel like a little bit of imposter syndrome when I'm creating content. Like, man, is this really good enough? Like, I know what brands are looking for, and this doesn't really seem right. And so I just overthinked everything. So it was tough. But as far as the small business decisions, like to kind of get back to the original question you asked, there was a lot. There was a several months period where I would, buy, $500 to $700 of a small collection or several cards, whatever, on Facebook Marketplace, and then have to flip that pretty quickly. And the name of the game was, I noticed a lot of people would try to like follow trends and buy a card that they think is going to do well, and then maybe price it up a little bit to kind of project. And we never tried to do that because to me, it just seemed silly buying from other vendors and going to card shows and seeing stickers that are higher than they should be. I was just like, it felt so cringy. So for us, it was like, okay, if I can buy for an acceptable percentage, which for us has always been 70% cash and 80% trade, if I can buy for 70% and I can sell it at a card show, even if I do a little deal or just sell it right at market, then we're still going to make some money. It's going to take some time to build this up, but we're still going to make money. And so we just kind of became the folks that you could buy from at market. We've done plenty of deals, took some off and done some discounts. Ray and I have done a couple of deals ourselves where I've bought and he's bought from me. So, just kind of building trust and building rapport with a customer base. And then the biggest thing was the content, like creating a YouTube channel and saying, okay, we're going to do vendor POVs. I know that I'm able to speak in front of a camera, and I understand energy and understand like content marketing. So hopefully I can put together a video that is at least watchable, and even though there's like, we're doing like $20 deals, it's, we're not selling gold stars and ponchos off the rip. And we still do very little of those now even. But the idea was if we can create some content and, create a good image and branding that people enjoy, then we can find a way to win that way. Because we knew on the financial side, like buying collections and stuff, it was scrappy and we had to grind. And it took even this long for us to even get to this point. And we're still pretty small. So yeah, there was a lot there.
What kind of deals are we talking about these days? Like, I mean, you said like a lot of them are still, you're buying and selling $20 here and there, but I have to imagine like that's got to be, at least the quantity has to be a lot more in order to be able to make a living off of it. So like, are you dealing with just a ton of those smaller transactions, or are there some bigger ones that you're now getting an opportunity to work with?
Definitely some bigger ones. And, something I learned early on too was I knew when I got into it, and this is kind of something that kept us from, it got in my head a little bit from time to time. I'm not going to lie, but eventually I was able to shake it. And that was, we knew that because we had little available cash, that it was going to be, we need more time because we have less money. If you have more money, then you can use less time to grow fast, right? So it was like, what is the fastest path to where we want to be? And so because we knew we had limited cash, we knew it was going to take more time. So I was dumping literally every extra minute of my days, dumping into this, like grinding Facebook Marketplace, building connections and relationships, asking people questions that were doing this bigger and better than me. And then eventually built to a point where we were like, okay, now we're starting to see the cash multiply a little bit. Got into grading. A couple of, close friend of mine, his name is Dalton Smith. He does sports cards with me or around me at certain shows. And he kind of pulled me along and was like, hey, this is a method that could work for you if you learn how to grade cards. And I was like, okay. So dove into that, saw some success with that. And then, of course, that multiplied the margins a little bit and got a couple of nice little deals here and there. And eventually it grew and grew. But yeah, to your point, the second you can start dealing with thousands of dollar transactions versus a couple $100, 20% of $5,000 is more money than 20% on a $150 deal, right? And so what I got caught up in a little bit early on was, oh, the margins have to be good, the percentages have to be good. And it's like, well, bro, you can operate on smaller margins if you're moving larger products. It's like the whole like high ticket sales thing, right? It's, if you're selling a bunch of cars and you're only making 5%, then you're taking home 20 G's at the end of the month versus me moving quadruple the amount of product, but at a much smaller dollar amount and have it a higher percentage. I'm still taking a fraction of what you're taking, right? So learning that was important. And so I try not to get caught up in like the percentages too much and just understanding, like, for example, one of the bigger deals I did around that time was investing a ton of resources into this poncho. It was a CGC 10. And obviously there was a lot of scrutiny around CGC because at the time they had just announced that they had validated and authenticated some cards that were not real. And so at that time it was a poncho. And so I got into it for really low because the thought was, oh no, like CGC's cooked. So this value, this asset's going to be smaller. And, I just bet on that. I was going to a big card show, put a ton of effort into finally getting into these collecticons, and that paid off. And because we had a guy come through, I purposely put a sticky note on it and I said, trade me at this dollar amount, which was under market. So I knew that if I could get trades for around what it was worth, then I was going to optimally build up the inventory to where I could have, a more sustainable looking table versus, bringing in cash. I was like, I'd rather just have the inventory plus 800 value or whatever it was. So that was a big swing for us, was taking that swing and then that paying off, stuff like that.
Let's talk a little bit about like you setting up at shows, because that's now that you're doing like these vendor POV videos, which have been getting very big on YouTube. I see like everybody doing
they're
that,
huge.
right? Like,
you might be a little slow on the boat. They've been huge.
Well, I know they've been around for a while, and I see them on the sports card side of things too. But it's just like it feels like that is the main content I'm seeing from guys who do Pokemon videos, or like it's a lot of the content, I should say that.
And a lot of people don't talk about this, and Jonathan, you can add into this. I feel that a lot of the way that the Pokemon market is increasing is because of the growth of these Pokemon POV videos on YouTube.
I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're very positive.
I don't think enough people talk about that.
Guy who does our producing of this episode, he sent me a video the other day, and it's actually I reached out to the guy. You guys have probably seen it because several people sent it to me. A girl with autism goes to his table, and like she's wanting to like try and trade or get exactly. What was his name?
Mm-hmm. Bearded Dad.
Yeah. So I'm watching this video, and I'm just like, man, this like hits you right in the feels. And he's got like an audience who's watching live, and they're like wanting to donate so that she can get the card that she wants and all that. And I've seen now multiple videos like that. I'm like, man, this is some great engaging content. And knowing that that's what you're doing, you're setting up at these shows. Do you feel like having the camera there like brings more people to the table because they want to be a part of it, or do you notice a difference at all?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. And for me, it's strange because again, there's like this sense of imposter syndrome a little bit, where it's like, man, for real, like my video that I made that I don't feel like is that good, or maybe I feel is a little boring or blah, blah, blah. And all the time I've had, this video that I just put out yesterday. As a matter of fact, I had a dad and his son come up, and the guy was like, "Oh, Music City Games." He's like, "We made our YouTube channel because of your videos." And just hearing that is like, what? Like, I can't even fathom that I would have that influence. But if I'm being honest, like that's really all I've wanted up until this point, is that making content for me has never been about maybe a revenue stream or something like that. It's just been about like I love entertaining. I love being in front of a camera and talking to people, and it's fun to have that type of content. So to your point, yeah, absolutely. There's been a difference. Some people are a little shy. I always do my best to like, if I'm doing a deal, I'll ask them like, "Hey, are you guys okay with being on camera?" And sometimes a parent or somebody's like, "Whoa, no." Or other times they're extra eager and they're like, "Yeah, get them in there." Like the kids are so psyched to be on YouTube. They're like, "I'm going to be on TV." But yeah, it's a really cool experience. And without a doubt, the content centered around the Pokemon hobby, not just Pokemon, but sports cards are doing a phenomenal job of this too. And honestly, if there's people out there that are doing like Lorcana or One Piece or whatever, I would highly encourage them to document their experiences and record this content, because it's really great. And there are a lot of people out there that just enjoy watching that content. Like a comment I got today on the video from yesterday was really encouraging and heartwarming. Somebody said, it's not about, because I have a clip in the video where this guy walks up and he's like, "Hey, I watched all the videos. I binged them all." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "Thank you. I didn't think these videos were bingeable, but I appreciate it." And I said that in the clip because it's just one of the realities of being a content creator sometimes, right? Like when you put yourself out there, sometimes you might feel it's not good enough, but you never know. Like a lot of people like what they like for many reasons, but this comment mentioned, they said, "I don't care about seeing a $4,000 deal or a $20 deal. Like you have really good energy, and that energy is fun and exciting to watch." And that was just not only just heartwarming, but really encouraging for me to say, okay, maybe I have something here. Maybe it's not about what I'm selling or what exactly I'm doing. The entertainment piece is really just in the fact that you're connecting with me on a level that you enjoy for whatever reason, right? So to your point about seeing the clip of like Bearded Dad and people who are giving and give stuff away and have these really just wholesome moments, we love to see that. We don't get enough of that in society as a whole. We see the news and we see all these things that are really distraught and discouraging, and then we see stuff like this and we get to enjoy and kind of wrap our arms around each other as a community, which is why I love the Pokemon hobby so much, because those moments happen so much. I had a young kid in Tampa, a short that's done really well for us, where this kid walks up. His name is Jonell. So shout out Jonell if he sees this. Young kid. I don't know his age, but maybe he's like 10 or 11. And his dad took him to Card Party 3 because we were there in Tampa a couple months ago. And he said, well, this is our first card show. We just started collecting. We're just buying some cards. We don't even know what we're looking for. And so I talked to him about the mystery slabs. Jonell got excited. His dad got him a slab. It was the second bag of our mystery bags. And he rips a Japanese Bubble Mew PSA 10, which is now doubled in price, by the way, since the last month and a half or so. So this kid, he rips it and then he just absolutely loses it. Like, it was just this amazing, genuine moment of this young kid who hasn't gotten a chance. Like, people were saying in the comments, like, oh, here comes the gambling addiction, which is kind of funny. But at the same time, it was like, yeah, it was one of those moments where this young kid experiences this really wholesome, like ripping a lottery ticket, but it's a cool Pokemon card, right? So those moments, you just can't replace it.
So how often are you traveling around as someone who's now doing this full time? Is this like every other week or once a month? What are we talking?
Yeah, it's certainly increased. So since I officially went full time at the beginning of July, I basically said, okay, I need to start doing these shows in higher frequency, because the strategy kind of shifted, because I was doing Whatnot, and Ray knows this because I hit him up and asked a ton of questions, and I was like, okay, this seems like the thing I'm supposed to do. And Whatnot, I started in, I want to say maybe like March or April. And we had a lot of success, so much success that we were selling through all of our inventory. And you're like, okay, that's a good problem to have. Well, the counterpoint of that is, as quickly as we sell, we have to be able to source, right? And you guys know that very well. So for me, sourcing is important because I want to be able to offer the prices that are fair at market. I want to be able to do deals with people and move large quantity if I need to. And so it's tough for me to go to card shows and source from vendors because they're having to make the same deals that I'm having to make, right? So, unless I'm trying to buy a card that's gradable, which those opportunities are becoming more scarce because more people are aware of grading and able to, or trying to at least. So sourcing is tricky. And so as much as I can grind Facebook Marketplace and local forums, at the end of the day, card shows are really just the best way to source. So for me, definitely increase that. The first month and a half, like all of July into August, was jam packed. And so for the past like 2 months, I've probably been home like 2 weekends. So I try not to do that. This was my first weekend in a while. Going back, I'll be in Dallas this upcoming weekend. And then the weekend after that, I think, is Collecticon Atlanta. And we have our local show here in Antioch as well. So yeah, it's jam packed, and it really is just the best opportunity to source and also creating content. That's the other part of it too, is I have to make it to these shows so I can produce these vendor POVs as well.
For someone who gets into this, they hear like, oh, turning $200 into a full-time job in like just over a year. It's like, where are these sources of income coming from? And to know like, well, there's going to be travel involved. There's going to be a lot of work, social media, and like flipping and things like that. A lot of due diligence, but it is possible. That's what I think is really cool about all this. It's like, it is something that you are a testament to can be done. Let me know this. What is the best card show to go to for a Pokemon dealer? Because I know like
question.
For like the National is like a huge show for sports cards. Dallas Card Show is a staple that everybody seems to go to. You got the West Coast show now, but I've never been to a Collecticon. I really want to go. You've mentioned that several times out. Are those better than a local show, or is a local show better than a national one? What would you say?
Yeah, Collecticons are the TCG convention in the best TCG convention in the world. It is primarily Pokemon cards, but you see all kinds of stuff. You see figures, you see plushies, you see other games like One Piece and Lorcana, Magic the Gathering. But yeah, it's primarily Pokemon cards, and that's where all the biggest dealers are doing their deals. That's where you'll see some like mom and pop smaller vendors like myself, I guess you could say. And yeah, it really is just the best place, not only to find specific cards that you're looking for, but for dealers, I mean, I don't know the specific numbers. Collecticons are extremely hard to get into. They're very political because there's so much demand in Collecticons. In their defense, they literally almost doubled the amount of events from 2024 to 2025. We saw, I think, 8 more. So you're getting one like every couple of weeks in the calendar year, which is pretty crazy. And it's still not enough. They're growing at an insane rate. But as a dealer, yeah, I mean, it was when we started, I knew right away. I was like, okay, Collecticon, we got to get in there. And it took it took me like 9 months of politicking and doing everything I possibly can, building relationships, reaching out to folks to just get squeezed in. And the first one we did was in Atlanta. The first one we got to vend at was in Atlanta at the beginning of this year in January. And we couldn't have had a worse spot. We were in the very back, all the way in the corner behind this massive wall of like TCG posters and figures and stuff. And it was impossible. But one thing that happened that was cool was it was so busy that a lot of people just pushed straight to the back. So we had this massive flow of traffic happening in this back aisle because people were like, screw the lines. Like, I'm just going to go back there. So it worked out for us. But yeah, it was insane. It was paired with the trade night. It was the biggest opportunity for us to sell. And it was our biggest revenue weekend we had ever had was when we did that.
What are some cards that you think that are undervalued that people are not looking to pick up, or at a vendor show to where people are constantly looking for this card that the public may not know about? And what is the most liquid cards that you can tell us at this moment?
That is a great question, and I have a good answer for you as well. So, my favorite cards to invest in right now that are low value, easy to acquire, and I think are super undervalued are basically every stamped Delta Species card from like the mid era. So, I'm talking like Holland Phantoms, Delta Species, Dragon Frontiers, all the cards that are reverse hollow stamped, which is technically what I think they're called. They're all amazing. One, the stamps look cool and people love them. But also that mid-era, the artwork they did on those cards are fantastic. They're really challenging to find in really good condition because people were just not taking care of cards in like 2013, 2014, or whatever it was. But I highly recommend if you see a card that looks kind of old-ish and it's got like a stamp where it's got like the name of the set in the picture art, pick those cards up. They're really hard to comp because you can't really find them on TCG Player. So you have to find sales on eBay, which, you know, are pretty up and down, right? There's very little consistency. So you might even be able to get them for a really good price. And so if you're looking for cards that are just low valued, but people really like them, they're popular, and they're super undervalued, it's the stamped cards for sure. I'd say the most liquid cards right now are any modern alt art or modern. A lot of people, what's happening in the hobby is a lot of people want to predict right now. We have like crypto and finance bros that are buying up stuff and say, like, people who were buying up the Whale Lord illustration rare from Journey Together. I don't know why that somebody started that trend and then it just ramped. Is it because of the art? Is it because Journey Together? People are finding it on the shelves now, so they're like, oh, let me buy these up and get tens, and then I'm going to get on the ground on it. So people are trying to like predict the market, which is really, really tough. So, but if you find any like modern alt arts from like the past couple of years, Sword and Shield alt arts are really going to be booming right now because they're officially not printing that anymore. And there's only like 1 or 2 chases from, like, good examples are the Giratina V from Lost Origin, which is the top chase from that set. The Lugia V alt art from Silver Tempest because it's like the lone chase. So cards like that are absolutely exploding in value right now. And if you have them, they're just liquid gold.
Right before we had you on, I showed Ray this video I just came across, I think this morning, where it was someone set up as a Pokemon dealer at a show, and a guy comes up and he buys some stuff from this dealer, and then it shows an hour later, comes back, and he's saying, here, take it back. I don't want that. I'll see if there's something else I want. Basically, he realizes he overpaid in the moment, and now he's demanding I want either my money back or I want to trade for something else. What are your thoughts on actions like this? Because I mean, I know in the sports card world, it's buyer beware. You know that the deal's done, everybody walked away, and you never know what he did with these boxes, right? So
Exactly.
I'm just like, is the positivity the same for you? Where it's like, well, you know, I really want to push out a good message when people see this content later, or is it like there's a line drawn at some point where it's like, all right, I want to be positive, but at the same time, I'm not going to let this guy take advantage of me.
Yeah, there's got to be some vendor etiquette and some buyer etiquette at these shows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and honestly, I've had instances where I had to be the one to educate that person, and that's really uncomfortable because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people look at vendors as just people who are just paying to get at a table and setting up their cards. It's like you're just a dude, right? And at the end of the day, for some people that is the case, but for me, I'm a business. I have an LLC. I pay the government. Every dollar I make, Uncle Sam sees, right? There's no tricks over here up my sleeve. It's not cash under the table for your boy, right? So for me, those types of interactions, I have to treat them as if they are a regular customer interaction, like at a store, right? And so if there is a case where someone buys something from me and then they have a little bit of buyer's remorse and maybe there's just like a little bit of time that have passed, there's been instances where I've honored stuff like that and been like, you know what, no worries. And you can kind of tell if there's a little bit of malice or ill will built into that, right? Like sometimes, and then sometimes even more challenging is sometimes it's a kid and they're like 11 or 12 years old, and then they feel like they're getting slighted because they haven't had this lesson yet, right? And so we have to be, again, vendors kind of have, we are not necessarily responsible, but we do have a little bit of a civic duty, if you will, as people who are setting up as in like a common place to, if a kid tries to do something a little sketchy, there's been times where I've had to parent them a little bit and be like, hey, we're not going to do that. And this is why. And I haven't had a single parent or anybody be upset with that. And so I think there is like a little bit of a line that you want to ride. Like on one side of the coin, like I want people to view Music City Games as like a Best Buy, right? Like where you come in and you expect customer service to be a certain standard, right? But then on the other side of the coin, I'm a small business owner. And so if somebody tries to maybe pull one over on me and there's a little bit of like ill intent there, I can typically pick up on that. And there's been times where I've had to stonewall that and be like, hey man, we're not going to do that. So it is challenging. That's maybe one of the biggest challenges that vendors face, in my opinion. And sometimes there's vendors that maybe shouldn't be vending because they don't understand that side of it either. And so you have to be able to play both sides, really.
That's great.
I'll say I actually appreciated that the guy made the post and put the video out there because, like we said, there is a lot of positivity on the Pokemon TCG non-sport side of things, but at the same time, it's like we live in a real world, and there's not always going to be puppies and rainbows, and
We live in a society.
right with society. So that being the case, though, I don't want it to get into people's head like that kind of action's okay. Like, I don't want there to be videos of people where the guy comes back an hour later and demands a refund or a trade, and then the guy submits and says, okay. And then now all of a sudden it's like, that's the expectation for the guy who goes to the show. It's like, well, I know that if I don't really like this, I'll just go back.
I can just take it back,
and they
yeah.
have to, because that other content creators are doing that too. So it's like, I actually appreciate when we get both the positive view, but also the real view of some of these situations. So I'm not saying you should start making more content like that, but I would say I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with putting out a video like that, because it is an education, a lesson to maybe a young person or an adult that just doesn't know how the world works yet.
I actually had a similar video, or a video that kind of has this same type of sentiment that was from yesterday. That there was an interaction that I included in yesterday's video where there's a guy who walks up and he sees this Kingdra EX promo from Shrouded Fable, and he sees it and he sees the sticker that's 43. I had just stickered that card the night before, so it has barely been 12 hours since I stickered this card, right? He sees it and he says, it's $43. He says, could you take 35? And I was like, probably wouldn't want to go that low on it because it's climbing a little, but let me double check. Let me see what I can do for you. And I look at the price and it's now $70, and it has not even been a full day, right? So I'm like, whoa, this card is like going crazy and I have no idea why. And the kid looks at me and I call him a kid. He's maybe, 18, 19 or something. And he looks at me and he goes, so you're not going to sell it for 43. And I was like, actually, I will honor the sticker for you. Yeah. I was like, if you tell me no right now, and you walk away, I'm going to sticker this card up. But if you want this card for what I have it stickered for, you can absolutely have it at that. And he goes, okay, I'll take it. Thank you. And the point is, again, like this is just common business. Like this is just proper business etiquette, right? At the end of the day, I have stickers on my cards, which is my responsibility to make sure I have them priced appropriately. But also, we're in a hobby that is exploding and things like that can happen. Like I can't control what's going to happen with the market in 12 hours time. So, if that happens, it just kind of is what it is.
You know what, Jonathan, you're a better person than I am, because if he had said, yeah, I'll buy it at that price, fair game. That's what I stickered it at. That's what it is. But the moment he tried to get a deal, that opened it up for not only him to get a good deal, it opened it up for you to be able to double check your pricing. So in my opinion, that kid's not walking away with a $43 card. However,
that's another case of people not being educated.
Yeah.
Because if I knew, okay, Jonathan's got this card as 43, I don't know necessarily what the market is. I'm going to check it. And if it's way lower than what it's supposed to be, you know what? Here's your $43.
Exactly.
And I'm gone.
Exactly. That's 100%. But
and I'm turning around and selling it to the next guy.
Exactly. For 65. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, though, it's like, again, would I rather that guy have a good experience from walking up to my table and then getting a card that, I'm going to get my $43, which is what I had stickered for it anyway. Am I missing out on this big appreciation? Sure. But am I going to create an opportunity for someone to be like, you know what? I really appreciated that experience. I'm a brand. I'm creating content. I'm actively putting my business on the internet. So at the end of the day, it's far less worth it for me to try to, I don't even want to say squeeze, but to maximize profit than to have just a genuine better experience. Because I'm with you. I can't tell you how many times I have walked up to a table, seen a sticker, and been like, I want to buy this, but I want it for a little bit less. And I knew that this card was a little bit higher. Like this vendor had a fair sticker, right? And I'll be like, instead of 525, like, would you take 500? And then he goes, well, I don't know. Picks up his phone and I'm like, I'm cooked. Like he's like, that card is 575 right now. And then they'll be like 575. And I'll be like, okay, fine. Let them honor it. But I've had it both ways. And so to me, it's just far more worth it for me to have a good experience and have someone be like, you know what? That felt good. That was like if I went to, again, like I used the retail experience. If you go to a retail store and someone honors something properly for you and they take care of you, then you're going to be more likely to return business, right? And so at the end of the day, that kid has a YouTube account, right? He has a TikTok account. He's going to see my face, maybe, hopefully, in the next, like, whatever, right? And when he does, I want him to be able to say, you know what? Like, I had a really great experience with this guy. I really appreciated it. That's far more valuable. We're at Collecticon, New Jersey. It's towards the end of day one. It's been a long day. And this guy walks up and he goes, hey, do you have any Torterra cards? And I'm like, no, actually. It's a very specific Pokemon with very few cards in population, by the way. And I was like, no, we don't. And he goes, well, like this. And he pointed to like this like terrarium, like weird looking structure that looked like it was made of styrofoam or something. And I was like, what? And he goes like this. And he had this cart and he just pulls out this massive, like 75-pound tortoise and lifted it up and put it on his shoulders. And we were blown away. Me and my nephew both. He's like, you want to hold her? So my nephew goes over there and holds it. And I'm like, what is going on? This is the craziest thing. Like you expect to see, like we see dogs all the time. You see some pets, right? Not crazy. But this guy had a full-blown tortoise. And the little thing that he pointed to was a cosplay of like rocks and trees. And he put it on top of the tortoise's back. And then it looks like Torterra because it has like the whole like earth stuff going on its back. It was incredible. It was super fun. That's our most viewed video, by the way. We're over 1 million views across all platforms on that video. So that was a good one. Yeah.
The people who listen to this podcast and or watch it, they probably are wondering how I have not already jumped into this. Several times you've mentioned that you were a professional Halo player. I just need to know, like that could be a whole other episode, but I just need to know, like, what is that like and how did you get there? And why don't you do it anymore? And did you make money? Just tell me all those things.
Yeah, I got you. So how I got there. So I started Halo, a buddy of mine, just like everyone else that is my age. I'm 33. So if you're a elder millennial and even some young Generation X folks know this very well, where Halo, the craze when Xbox first came out was crazy. I got an opportunity to play with some of my friends when Halo 2 came out, played it a bunch, and then found out there was this thing called Major League Gaming, which was a professional way that you could earn, like guys were playing for $25,000. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I got involved with some of my local buddies here in Middle Tennessee, played the game like an absolute madman, and then started competing, traveling to those events, like similar to card shows. And so I went to, at the time I was a 15-year-old broke kid. My family was very low income, so it was tough to do. Me and my buddies would pile into a car. I'd get like $40 from my mom, and I would just eat like 6 McChickens over the weekends to keep me alive. And then I would do these tournaments for a while, and it took me a couple of years to get to that point. But eventually, I think it was Halo 4 that came out. Well, Halo Reach, I placed. So I had some top placings. I think I had a top 24 placement, which at the time was a big deal because this is out of like 300 plus teams. So to place into the top 32 was like a really big accomplishment at that time. But then eventually, got to the point where Halo was dying. And then of course, like right as Halo was dying, I was peaking as a professional player and got an actual opportunity to start making money and played for sponsor teams and stuff. But as Halo 4 was dying, I got a chance to become a caster. So I did broadcasting. I made the switch to Call of Duty, did that for UMG, which is a really, really big tournament organizer. So if any of your listeners are familiar with Call of Duty, then they know the term UMG. So I did some stuff with them. And then from there, just built a career in the esports space, started doing marketing stuff and content marketing stuff, and just went from there. Eventually, I got to work for the Dallas Mavericks. So from 2018 to 2021, I worked for the Dallas Mavericks as an esports marketing manager, and was helping manage the marketing and content creation for the 2K League team, which is now gone. But got to work for Mark Cuban and Dallas, and that was an awesome experience. So yeah, my career is actually mostly esports. I wrote a book. I'm a published author for a book and teaching people how to like monetize and their content there. So yeah, the esports has been my thing. And so that's what you're seeing right here is just some of my jerseys from my playing days.
Jonathan Miller, thank you very, very much. Really appreciate you coming on, making
Jonathan
the time.
Miller.
And hopefully we run into you maybe at the next Pokemon show in Nashville.
I see him all the time. If you actually come out to the card shows, we would see you.
One of these days I'll be in town. The next one I'll be here.
I'm boots on the ground with my boy Jonathan.
I know.
That's true. That's how you establish the connections. That's what it's about, man.
Every boy's dream is to
right?
play video games professional.
Yeah, I want someone to pay me to do that. I want to work for Dallas Mavericks. I want to do social media content.
Everything your mom said you couldn't do, you can't. You need to quit playing those video games because you're not going to get a job.
It's not going to amount to
anything.
anything.
You need to quit playing with those Pokemon cards because you're never going to get any money.
So there you go, Jonathan Miller, very cool guy. Music City Games is where you guys can check out his content. There was a couple other things. This is going to be another hour and a half episode.
People love the hour and a half episodes.
They love I don't know. Maybe I hope they do. I mean, here's the thing. The SpongeBob stuff, it doesn't come out till October 1st. I can save that till next episode. The only other thing I guess would just be there is a Star Wars break that I'm doing tomorrow. If you're listening the day this comes out, I'm breaking all day tomorrow, Fanatics Live. Just multiple cases of Star Wars Topps Chrome. And I also was going to say this. Some guys I work with over in the UK, they pulled the 1-of-1 Leia, which, if you don't know, Leia's not signing anymore. But they do, of course, still use sticker autos for Leia.
What is it? Slave Leia? What kind of?
Not actually. No, I think it was her in her princess outfit from A New Hope.
Okay.
I want to say. But Carrie Fisher is signing this card. It is for sale. It's a 1-of-1 from this year. If someone is interested, I can probably get you with the right people that would know how to do that. So
is it for sale on our good friends over at DC Sports?
So I actually encourage them to use DC Sports. So they may be sending it to DC, but I said, well, let me just put out the call here too at the same time. And if nothing else, if they go ahead and list it with DC, they can just go bid on it over there. So
yeah, DC Sports, the best.
I mean, I've been consigning like crazy from all these breaks. Like we just send a pile, whatever we get, like the big hits that they're not specifically chasing, they all just get sent over overnight to them. It's a great service. I can't say enough about them, but if you're not consigning with them, then you're basically just doing all the work and getting paid the same thing that you would have gotten paid for just sending your card into them. Let them do it. So
Yeah, shout out to DC Sports.
but more eyeballs. But anyway, so I'll save that. And then the Muppets Do Marvel is a very cool thing. It's something we can talk about next episode. So I'll save the SpongeBob and that. You said you had a very cool Pokemon thing.
I just have one cool Pokemon thing, Jesse, which 2 of my favorite things have combined into one thing.
Oh.
And that is Pokemon and professional wrestling.
Wait, really? How have I
Yes.
not seen this?
So, if you didn't know, because of the new Pokemon game that's coming out, there are new Mega Evolutions starting to debut for new Pokemon.
Yes.
Okay, so there is a Pokemon called Halucha, which he is a bird, like a falcon Pokemon, which kind of has like a luchador vibe to him.
Oh.
He now has a Mega Evolution, which looks amazing. Probably some of the best Mega Evolution artwork to date. And the wrestling company CMLL, which is one of the second biggest luchador wrestling companies in Mexico, Pokemon and CMLL are collabing, and they have a huge announcement going on September 25th, which we did in Arena Mexico, that's the huge arena in Mexico City. So something's gonna go. They haven't told us what it is.
Okay.
But
that's pretty exciting.
I think it's super awesome. It's kind of like the internet is going nuts.
Yeah.
Over this new Pokemon and its Mega Evolution form, because it's
okay.
It's great.
All right. Well, that's exciting. It's a fun tease, especially with like wrestling being so hot right now. The WWE Chrome Cactus Jack product is now out.
I don't want to talk about it.
Just tell them what happened,
dude. To my point earlier, I go to Shep's. I'm like, all right, cool.
Shep's our local card shop.
And nothing against Shep's. You know, they're the boys.
Oh yeah.
So I get there and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna get my hobby box of the new Cactus Jack WWE product because you know I'm a big wrestling guy. And I'm like, I'm looking maybe $300, $400 to spend. You know, I'm like, okay, this is my budget for that.
Yep.
I get there, it's $600.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hot dog, I can't justify paying $600 for this, not knowing what I'm going to get out of the box.
Yep.
I'd rather buy a really nice graded Pokemon card with that.
Fair.
So,
did you buy a Pokemon card?
I did not.
So
there is a Gengar that I've been looking at. I did buy a Pokemon card which was cheaper. I did buy a dark Dragonite with a crazy swirl, which I'll show you after this.
Okay. Well, hang on. Before we go too far, back up. So
back it up.
You didn't buy a box, but someone bought a box that day.
They did buy a box that day.
From Shep's. And what was inside of it?
A 1-of-1. Cody Rhodes.
I think it was one of one Cody Rhodes. Yeah.
That 1-of-1 Cody Rhodes. But it wasn't autographed.
I mean, I don't think it'll matter in the long term, but yeah, I don't think it was autographed. Here's the thing though. I feel bad. I like the fact that you could have I mean, who would have known,
it
right?
Was pulled
every
after
time.
The fact that I got to the store.
Yeah, exactly. So that means that the box that you didn't buy was the box that it was in. That's what that means.
No, it was pulled before.
It was pulled before?
Before, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm
then.
very sure.
All right.
Because that's I saw the post and I'm like, okay, he has them. I'm going to go get me a box.
Yeah. It was the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes Superfractor.
Super Vector. 1-of-1.
1-of-1. There you
Which
go.
I don't like I'm not a big fan of that card. He's like in a suit, right?
Yeah, he is. He's all suited up.
Yeah,
He's not in his...
I'm not a big fan.
You know
of that
what?
one.
I'm glad you didn't get it. It would have been. You wouldn't have liked it.
Oh my God.
You would have hated it. Anyways, there
I
you
would have
go.
sent it straight to my boys over at DC Sports.
There you go. Fun fact, by the way, for all of you who are trying to get Pokemon from Costco and Sam's, my man sitting across from me here, Ray, hits me up this morning and says, "Hey, get down to Sam's Club. They're doing a release. I don't have the executive card or whatever to get you in at 9.
Neither do I, yeah.
But Ray tries his luck. They let him in before 10, and not only do they give him 2 boxes, they give him 4 boxes.
4 boxes.
And so I'm like, well, dang, I'll still go by there, but it's gonna be an hour later. It's like 10:45. I go by there, and I'm seeing nothing. They're all gone. I call Ray. I'm like, hey, where were they? They're not there. I'm walking out, and as I walk out, I just turn and look, in like 3 boxes stacked behind the service desk on like, I don't know, just a table where you would never see them. I just happened to see, and I'm like, hey, are those for sale? I'm like, yep, those are our last 3. You can have 2 of them. I was like, all right.
I will take both
Done
of them,
deal.
man.
Yeah, exactly. So we both got a little prismatic. There's going to be a little love showing up on the YouTubes here soon.
Let's go ahead and plug it.
Yeah.
So we are going to be opening a box of the new prismatic Sam's Club box.
Yep.
And
there's 14 packs? Is that
14
right?
packs and a lot of really nice stamped promos. And if you watch the video on the YouTube channel, all the hits that we get plus the promos are going to be given away to a lucky viewer.
Bam.
So if we pull a God pack,
Oh, don't even. If we pull a God pack, then we keep it. But everything else you guys get. That's what you were going to say?
I will give away the God pack.
What? This is baloney. I did not sign up for this. So there you go, people. Thank you so much again for all the support. We do appreciate it. If you guys aren't already, please follow on. We really mainly just do social media on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. There is the Facebook page now. There's the Non-Sports Cards Nonsense, the group where we do all of our talking of non-sport and Pokemon cards. But there's actual page for hobby nonsense as well. You guys can check out Facebook if that's where your prime social media content comes from. So
Shout out to your grandma.
my grandma?
Yeah, because she's watching the Facebook.
Wait, did this come up? Did we talk about this?
Is your grandma a big Facebooker?
I mean, yeah, but
Everyone's
I don't-
grandma is a big Facebooker.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
the joke.
Oh, okay. I was like, did we
But
talk
is
about
your
my
grandma,
grandma
like-
specifically? No, I mean, I've got a granny who is still alive, and she does get on Facebook. So, yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. It's the thing. It's the weirdest thing. That's where so many card people are, though. But it is funny, though. The sports card guys are over there. The non-sport / Pokemon specifically, I don't think it's as big.
You know why?
Younger crowd.
No, do you know why?
Why?
Because the sports card community
Mm-hmm.
is toxic. And the non-sports card community is
So if you collect sports cards, but you also collect non-sports cards, you're fine. But if you
Yes.
only collect sports cards,
correct.
that's the issue.
And you know where toxic people go?
Where's that?
Facebook.
Facebook. So let that be a lesson to you. I mean, that's just science. We didn't even come up with that ourselves. So thank you guys again, and we will see you guys next week.